Tokyo Ghoul worth watching? Now this is one of those animes where it doesn't matter if you've been watching anime for a while or if you're new to anime, like no matter where you are in anime, you've most likely heard about this one. And if not, you might have heard the first intro. Certified banger across the board, and everybody in the anime community knows it. But just because it has a good intro doesn't necessarily mean that this anime is worth watching, right? Because of those of you who have heard of this anime or maybe asked your friends about it, they might have told you that it's good until the end, or they might have told you to not watch the last season because the last season was 100% hated by all the fans, which we'll get to that in a second. But real quickly though, let's go ahead and check out the ratings. So on Crunchyroll, they have it rated as a 4.5 out of 5, and on my anime list is 7.79 out of 10, which for the most part are pretty solid ratings. But the question of the day is this anime worth watching? And remember guys, when I say is this an anime worth watching, I mean is this an anime that's worth your time? Is it something you need to put on the top of your anime list? Something you might want to, scoot towards the bottom or maybe even erase it? Or even does this anime keep up with the times? Because season 1 dropped in 2014, and anime has 100% changed in those last 11 years. So is this anime still good to watch in 2015? And it's my job to consider all those factors when giving you my answer. So without further ado, this anime is worth watching. But as always, this is not an anime for everybody. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about the plot of this anime so that way, we're all on the same page. Then I'm going to talk about the reasons why I like this anime or why I think you should watch it, along with the reasons why I didn't like this anime or possibly the reasons why you won't like it either. And so let's talk about the plot. So in this anime, you have regular humans and you have ghouls. Now ghouls are like monsters, which I wouldn't call vampires or anything like that, but they're like a ghoul. Like a ghoul is a monster, you feel me? Like, okay, but these ghouls survive by eating humans. And lately there's been a woman ghoul that's been binge eating on people in the 20th ward. Which you might be thinking, okay, she's just eating humans, you know what I'm saying? That's what ghouls do. But the problem is that in this particular ward, it's more chill over there, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, a couple of people get eaten here and there, but but she's been multiplying them by 20. To help stop her and the other ghouls, there's an organization called a CCG, and their job is pretty much to kill the ghouls. Which isn't easy, because these ghouls have powers and they can wipe a squad out quick. So she's been on the loose. With that in mind, we switch to our main character, Kaneki. Now, Kaneki is an average college student that loves reading books, and he likes to do this in this cafe. Now, as he was talking to one of his best friends, he mentions that there's been a girl that's been coming in lately, and she's kind of a baddie, you feel me? Like, she caught Kaneki's eye. So she sits in front of him, and bro is just happy, that she's there. Then he notices that she's reading the same book that he likes to read, which isn't too popular in that city. So Kaneki is feeling it, and she notices he's peeping her, and then, they start to get to know each other. And so now they're on a date. Kaneki's on cloud 10, because he's hanging out with a girl he never thought he could get, and he's finding out that they have so much in common. But after the date, they're walking home, and the girl's kind of afraid because, ghouls are on the loose. And so Kaneki, being the man he is, he decides to help walk her home. But then they stop at this construction site, and then she's talking about how lovely he is and how delicious he looks and everything. Kaneki's happy, but then it turns out she was serious, okay? She actually thinks Kaneki looks delicious. That's because she is the binge eater known as Rise. She tricked Kaneki this entire time so she could eat him. So Kaneki's trying to run away, but there's nothing he could really do against a ghoul. And so pretty much he's about to die. But then suddenly some beams fell on Rise. And so the ambulance are called. Rise is not savable, however Kaneki is. And so they transfer organs from Rise into Kaneki so that way he can survive. And so now you're probably thinking, wow, Kaneki is so lucky, you know what I'm saying? She gets what she deserves and he was able to still live. But if only that was the case. So Kaneki does survive, however, because he has Rise's organs, he himself gets turned into a ghoul. And that night, his best friend left him some food because he knew he was getting out of the hospital and wanted to give him his favorite burger. Before he eats it, he sees this program on TV where the guy is talking about ghouls. And apparently, ghouls cannot eat human food because it tastes horrible to him. And Kaneki is freaking out because when he was eating food earlier, it tasted bad to him, right? So he's trying to eat everything in his kitchen to try to prove, okay, it's not bad, but no. Oh no. Vomits and spits everything out. And so now he's realizing that he's been turned into a ghoul, which I guess is okay, as long as he doesn't stand out. But here's again the problem. Ghouls eat people. And so while Kaneki's in the street, he starts tweaking low-key because he's starting to now have cravings to eat humans. And as he smells something delicious, he runs into an alley to realize that it was a ghoul that was eating a human. So again, he is freaking out because he doesn't want to, obviously, cannibalism at this point, He's not trying to eat the human. Then this dude gets cooked by another ghoul, who turns out that this is their territory. And as he's about to fight Kaneki, a woman shows up who's actually one of the workers that was at the coffee shop where he met Rise, and she pretty much defended him. But then Kaneki's again freaking out because he's like, yo, what am I gonna do? What am I supposed to do? I'm not trying to eat humans. She looks at him and says, yo, listen, okay, you are a ghoul. Eat. If you don't eat, you're going to die. And she grabs some human flesh and forces him to eat it. And that is the start of Tokyo Ghoul. Before I continue on the reasons of why I like this anime, if you're still watching this video, if you guys can do me a huge favor, and go ahead and smash that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1K, and with the power of friendship, I know it's possible, right? Plus, it lets me know that you want more videos, and it's a good way to support the channel. Now let's get back to the video. Now the main reason why I love Tokyo Ghoul is because it is a psychological thriller. Because imagine, right, Kaneki was this normal kid, He wasn't popular, he wasn't doing anything grand, he was just living a normal life the best he could. Then when he finally finds a girl that has similar interests in him, he's able to open up and pretty much, have a chance of having a future with her. It turns out she was just tricking him the entire time, and not even just to be a bully, but to eat him, to kill him. That right there will break anybody, you feel me? And can easily lead a person to depression. But okay, crazy stuff happens, ghouls exist, it is what it is, now you know to be more careful. But now you are one of the ghouls. You can no longer go back to eating your regular food. If people find out about your eye, ghouls might want to eat you because you still have a little bit of human taste in you, you know what I mean? So ghouls kind of still want to eat you or kill you. And then you have the CCG that's trying to kill you. If you have any friends, they might report you. And you can no longer go back to your normal life. And then what makes it worse is that you have to eat people. You have to literally start eating people. You can no longer eat a burger, large fry, and milkshake combo. So that right there can really affect your head. And they do a really good job of portraying that. It shows that he's still trying to be human, he's trying to remain human, he doesn't want to do this, and he's trying his best not to eat people, but he can only go so far before he loses his mind. Plus, the ghoul that's inside of him wasn't just any regular ghoul. This was Rise, the one that was binge eating, the one that was addicted to eating people. So in his mind, Rise will actually be in there talking to him like saying, hey, you might want to start eating them. You gotta eat them. You gotta eat. You're a ghoul. And so throughout the series, we see Kaneki almost break down because he just can't handle everything that's going on. Plus, as he starts to live in the ghoul side, he's starting to realize that there doesn't need to be fighting, because a lot of ghouls are just trying to live in peace. However, they happen to have to eat humans, which obviously humans are gonna let that slide. So it's this rough ground of understanding and hatred that he's trying to also understand and mend himself. And y'all, again, no big spoilers in this anime. However, the people will push, alright? People will push for you to break. So when you're at the end of Tokyo Ghoul, there's a huge difference to where he's at now and what he used to be like. Another thing I like about this anime is the characters, because there's no characters that you truly get annoyed of. Everybody has their personalities. I love how some people can be very extravagant, while some people can just be, your typical everyday person. I enjoy the character designs. I love how some of them are kind of shrouded in mystery, while others are an open book, and it's more like a melting pot of people as you're watching. And that includes the CCG, because there are people in the CCG that can respect ghouls. However, it's almost like they respect them, but it's also their job. You know what I mean? Like, they can't let go of the hate. So it's like, you were a cool person, but because you did this, I can't forgive you. So that's something I like, when characters, can mend together regardless of what side they're on. Lastly, the animation does keep up. Now, granted, you're not gonna get that Mappa, ufotable kind of animation. However, for the most part, you can't tell that this anime is over 10 years old. So it did a good job at holding itself up. Now, for the reasons why I didn't like this anime, or one of the negatives I will say about this anime, is the last season. And that is honestly it. Because without too many spoilers, the last season is confusing unless you read the manga. Because where season 2 ends and where season 3 begins, there is a time gap. And that time gap wasn't really explained that well in season 3, or at least I didn't get far enough in season 3 to where I was like, okay, yeah, this is solid. However, from my knowledge, if you have read the manga, then season 3 makes sense and it's still good. Plus, it gives you that full ending that people were probably looking for. However, if you have not read it or seen a YouTube video on it, you're gonna be confused and it's gonna completely throw you off, just like it did me. Which I usually do take that into consideration when it comes to if an anime is worth watching, right? Because if a third or if a big chunk of the anime isn't worth watching, then is a whole anime really? But in this situation, I think of it more as like, Naruto and Boruto. Because Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, yes, they're all Naruto, but they're like a little separate, you know? Because this is Tokyo Ghoul, then Tokyo Ghoul Re. So in my mind, it's like a separate season that you want to watch, you can, but it's not needed for the main series, even though it technically is season 3. You know what? I will leave it as, if you want to watch all 3, you can. Some people did enjoy it, some people won't. I didn't really watch it, but this anime still in itself, regardless, is worth watching, okay? The first 2 seasons will carry. And with that said, if you guys have seen Tokyo Ghoul, let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments, along with any other anime you might want me to check out. And until next time, stay weebin'.